Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Narrative Breakdown. This is where we're going to break down different movie clips. Um, it can be anything for any type of media. It can be any type of media, books, movies, any kind of storyline or narrative that we want to break down. It's something that I have a passion for. I love the power of story. I use it in my therapy practice. And this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So we've already done one episode that I did on A Beautiful Mind and did a breakdown of one of the scenes there. And today we're going to break down Fireproof. And so there's a scene that I commonly use in my practice to talk about the art of apology. And so here in a minute, I'm going to pull that up and we're going to break that down. It's a little bit longer of a scene. It's about 5 minutes long, almost 6 minutes long. And so, in effort to respect copyright rules and everything, I'll be stopping and pausing and talking about different parts of the scene along the way. But I would encourage you to go check out the description in this video after the live broadcast is over. I'll make sure to go back in and put several different links in there, and I'll link the exact YouTube clip that I used to do this breakdown, and to go back and just watch it in its fullness, and then kind of think about some of the things that I'm talking about when it comes to the art of apology. But before we begin with that, I just want to remind everybody to please subscribe to our channel. You know, if you're watching this live, you're watching it live on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe to that channel. And don't forget to ring the bell so that you can be notified when these videos post or when we go live again with our many different shows. I say many, we have like 2 or 3. My colleague Carrie and I do Therapist Take, and Mary and Josie are doing our UN session with Mary and Josie. And so those are all on YouTube. You can watch the rebroadcast of anything or participate live in the live broadcast, which we usually do on Fridays around 12:30 Central Standard Time, 12:30 p.m. Today, this is post-Thanksgiving Friday, and so I tried to start a little earlier because I think my family's still sleeping from a food hangover. So anyways, this whole concept of the art of apology and utilizing the movie Fireproof in this one particular scene, which has stood out to me for a long time. This movie came out in 2008. In all honesty, it's in my opinion, it's not the best movie out there in terms of like acting and things like that, but I think it was filmed with a low budget. That's my understanding anyways. And but it still has a pretty powerful scene in there, and of course it's got Kirk Cameron in the movie, who is a fairly decent actor. And so I'm gonna, if you catch me kind of stumbling over my words and everything, I'm also trying to work this switcher board. It's something I'm still trying to learn to do and multitask, and I don't know how all these YouTubers do that all the time. But so, yeah, I'm having to click on different buttons and everything as I'm speaking with you and read different things and try to carry a thought at the same time, which I'm not super good at. So as I mentioned, we're going to be, here's a picture of the movie, which I just have pulled up on one of my screens. And again, this came out in 2008. And just allow me to give you kind of the premise of the movie here. Basically, it centers around the storyline of this guy who's a fireman. And he's basically caught up in a lot of other, I'd say a lot of other things. Like, I think, pretty much the storyline is that he's hooked on pornography, or he's got a problem with compulsively watching porn and not, tending to the, intimacy needs. And I'm not just referring to sex here. I'm talking about just being, having an established connection with his wife. And she's hurt and frustrated, and after years of this, she's basically done with the relationship and she's ready to move on. And she has actively basically started an emotional affair herself with someone at work. He becomes aware of that, and it kind of fits the narrative too. I don't know if you've ever If you've read anything on Esther Perel, for example, she often talks about that when men have affairs, they often have affairs to stay married, and that's another topic for another day. But women often have affairs to as an exit strategy, and so this was definitely, or the way it appears, as part of her exit strategy. And so, of course, the storyline of this movie is because this movie is a Christian-based film. So I think the impression I'm getting, anyways, is that the main message that they're wanting to get across in this movie is one of, of faith and, turning your mind and your heart toward Jesus and things like that. And so that is not the point of what I am going to express to you today. Whether this was a Christian-based film or not a Christian-based film, I feel like that this scene that I'm about to show you really represents a very well done, heartfelt apology. Something that I'm working with people with all the time in sessions, especially when we're dealing with betrayal trauma treatment. And so anybody watching this may, some of you probably know that I'm a betrayal trauma therapist. If you've ever seen any of the other videos or perused our YouTube channel any, but if you're new here, that is one thing that I specialize in, is working with individuals and couples who have been impacted by betrayal trauma, which is, like infidelity or sex addiction or sexually compulsive behavior. And so, apology is key, and doing an effective apology is not so easy. A lot easier said than done. And this one that I'm about to show you from this movie is not a perfect one, but I think it hits a lot of the marks, and it serves as a great model for how a good apology is done. So basically, in where this scene picks up is that he has basically had a change of heart based upon an intervention that his dad introduced to him regarding a book that I think was actually popular back in 2008 too. I can't quite remember the name of that book, but I'll look it up and put that also in the show note, not the show notes, but the description of this video, and so you can see that. But again, this this episode isn't to promote those books or to suggest that a book, a journal, or something like that is the key, to turning things around, or the key to changing your heart, and so, and again, it's not to promote any kind of Christian agenda or anything like that. I'm truly just wanting to show you some of the key pieces of what makes this such a good apology. And so in this scene, he his wife is sick, and he is trying to tend to her, and he's trying to be attentive, and he truly is at this point trying to be a good husband, and he's realizing he's recognizing the loss, and the loss is sinking in, and he's kind of jarred him back into reality, and he's realizing what he's losing. And so he's, with the time that he has left in his marriage, he has devoted that time to making sure he's attentive and a good husband, whether he stays with her or not. And that's one of the key pieces to this, is like that if being a attentive and connected person is dependent on this person staying, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And so, and I think that's one of the pieces that's kind of pointed out here. Now, from the agenda of the movie, it's about being connected with Jesus, but from kind of a secular point of view, it's about being connected with self. Is that it's just what it means to be a good person, like, I need to do this not just for you, but for me, and I'm going to continue to do recovery, so to speak, whether we are together or not. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. And like I said, I'll be starting it and stopping it along the way to kind of give my 2 cents on different things, just to kind of respect the copyright laws and things like that. And so that, but again, I'd encourage you to go back and watch it in its entirety. I apologize too for the choppiness and the stuttering and things like that. Multitasking, and you can ask anybody, is really not my forte. But I also know that if I don't get in here and I do this, that my brain isn't going to learn how to work these. I got three different screens right here that you can't see that I'm trying to work at the same time, and it's not going to learn how to do it and adapt to it if I don't just get in there and do it. So I got to go through the whole uh, headache of sounding, making a sound kind of not as crisp as I would like it to be. But hopefully, as I get a few of these going, it'll get better. So okay, so I'm going to bring this on screen here and start this clip, and then we'll watch it together, and I'll pause it along the way and talk about what makes this a good apology. So here we go.
Here. You think you can take this?
Why are you doing this?
I have learned you never leave your partner, especially in a fire.
Caleb, what's happened to you?
Dad asked me if there was anything in me that wanted to save our marriage. And then he gave me something. I could let you read it.
So just to stop it right there, just to kind of illustrate something that when people are really doing something different in their life, and that's usually what it requires especially when you're trying to recover from a betrayal trauma, because it really does kind of upturn the whole system. And I would encourage you guys to go and check out some of the many YouTube videos that we've posted on betrayal trauma to try to kind of hear us talk more about the impact that this has on people. And anybody watching this that has gone through that knows exactly what I'm talking about. And so, but one of the signs that we're looking for an effective change in the relationship, a type of change that gives you the best chance, in our opinion, of building a true trust in the relationship, is curiosity. So the fact that she's asking that question of what's happened to you, that's the type of thing that we want to see. What we don't want to see is a lot of responses that are embedded in the feeling of certainty. So I always just call those like the hell no responses. Like, no way, I've seen this. I've seen it before. I don't want to have any part of it. I'm not curious about it. I have no questions about it. It's just a straight hard no. I'm not going to be a part of that. But that's not what she's doing here. She's asking questions. She's recognized something, but she doesn't trust it. And that's what you're about to see right here, which is completely normal. Why would you trust something you've never seen before? And so she has recognized that something's going on for him that's different, but she doesn't trust it. It looks like she might feel like it's just more deception. So let's look and see how she responds here.
Was it this?
How long have you known?
I found it yesterday. So what day are you on?
43.
There's only 40.
Who says I have to stop?
She's having trouble trusting him.
Caleb, I don't know how to process this.
All right, that's a very good. I don't know who they consulted with for writing this movie, but that is a really good line to throw in at this point to really illustrate an effective change process. It's not comfortable. It's difficult for the person in this situation, Caleb's situation too, who's got to watch his partner suffer more by his honesty, by an honest effort at change, which is often sometimes what keeps people from doing this work, is because it's just the path of least resistance is to split up or to get a divorce, because it's so hard for me to watch them be in more pain when I am the reason that they were in pain to begin with. But one thing that I explain a lot of times is there's a difference in good pain and bad pain. It's hard for them to understand that difference, because when you're going through something like this, pain is pain is pain. And so that's what's happening here. And he's got to be willing to watch his partner suffer even more, but recognize that this is good pain, and to trust that it's good pain and to stay in it. And that's really difficult to do. It's one thing that I don't think this movie reflected extremely well, is how difficult to do this without somebody guiding you or helping you along the way. And so, I get it's a movie and they're trying to make a point, and they do a really good job of it. So let's watch his response to this.
This is not normal for you.
Not normal.
Welcome to the new normal.
Here it comes.
You didn't want to do this at first, did you?
See, she doesn't trust it.
No. But halfway through, I realized that I did not understand what love was.
So again, and I'm sorry to keep stopping this so often, but there's so many great nuances to the scene that they did really well with. And I think one of the key pieces of this is when she asked him, you didn't want it to do this anymore, he didn't go into some kind of defensive excuse. He just simply said, no, that's the truth. He did not want to do it in the beginning. And then he is very careful with his words here and explains why that's different now. But again, you're going to see, she's still going to have a hard time trusting that it's real.
And once I understood that, I wanted to do it.
Caleb, I want to believe that this is real. But I am not ready to say that I trust you again.
So again, they nailed it here. I mean, perfect response. This is what I would typically expect when working with betrayal trauma couples. I see that it's different. I recognize that it's different. Something's happening within you. I want to believe that it's real and it's not some form of manipulation. But self-respect really requires me to kind of hold off, to balk at it, And so a very good line there.
I understand that. But whether you ever reach that point or not, I need you to understand something.
Great line. That's a great line because he's saying, which I go over with clients a lot with this, is that when it comes to your recovery and the changes that you're trying to make, it needs to be changes that you're going to make, whether you're able to save your marriage or not. And that's a key piece to recovery, but also to an effective apology, in my opinion. And then now we see him starting to kneel down, so he's lowering himself. And I talk a lot about posture. When you're having these types of conversations, when you're dealing with this type of thing, posture is key because it sets the tone. But I want you to watch what her body does as he kneels down, how her body kind of starts to complement his. And this is because of the effect of vulnerability. I always say a lot that vulnerability begets vulnerability. So he's making himself vulnerable right now. And you're going to see how that makes her vulnerable and uncomfortable, in her vulnerability toward him because she's not ready to be vulnerable toward him. And her body responds to that. So here we go. See how she shifted there? She raised up.
I am sorry. I have been so selfish. For the past 7 years, I have trampled on you with my words and with my actions. I have loved other things when I should have loved you.
It's a great line.
In the last few weeks, God has given me a love for you that I have never had before. And I have asked him to forgive me. And I am hoping, I am praying that somehow you would be able to forgive me too. Catherine, I do not want to live the rest of my life without you.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you there. Woo, yeah, that one. I wanted to play the pretty much the apology scene without interruption there, and it's a good apology. And of course, when we're making apologies in our life, we don't have that wonderful music playing behind us to really set the tone, set the mood for us, and everything. So I know that cinematic effect is there too, but it's a really good apology as he goes into saying, keeping the focus on him, that I have loved other things when I should have loved you. He's acknowledging his part in all this. He's acknowledging the damage that he did. This doesn't mean that she was a perfect human being in their marriage, and there very well might be some things, like if they were to do therapy, that they're going to have to address down the road, and things that maybe she has done to hurt him. But that's not what the focus needs to be right now. He has betrayed her in a very big way, and so he needs to acknowledge his role in that, and he's doing a very good job of that. And then one thing that's kind of I talk a lot about, like, is it a appropriate to do, is to shift the focus back onto my desire and desperation to keep you, to save the marriage. And I often discourage that in the beginning, just because you don't want to taint this effort at recovering, in bettering yourself for the sake of bettering yourself, by shifting it back to, like, I'm, or implying that I might only be doing this for you. And so I could, if you don't stay with me, I might stop doing this. And that is whether a partner understands that, just what word I'm looking for, whether it's beyond being intuitive and understanding that, so I'm sorry, I can't think of the word. But it's like saying openly, but I can't figure out the word. I'm sorry. And so, but whether the partner is doing, that, they understand it consciously. Gosh, I could not think of the word. They couldn't think of the word conscious, whether it's conscious or subconscious. They will can sometimes balk at, oh, okay, wait, this is about me. Like, they really do need their partners, like, to feel safe in a relationship, to know that being an open, honest person, that has a transparent relationship and is not there's no room for deception, that shouldn't be dependent upon any particular person in your relationship. You should be doing that because you want to do that, because uh, what being a good person requires, and so it feels very unsafe to get that impression. But the way he did it here, I have encouraged clients before to say, like, when in these extremely volatile situations where the marriage is hanging on by a thread, is, to, if what if you have a fear of losing this person to that degree, make sure that you say those words, kind of like he did, that I do not want to live the rest of my life without you. That is the position I'm taking. That is where I'm at. And in the spirit of transparency and honesty, whether we stay together or not, that needs to be said. That is my position, and and that was very well done in this situation. I mean, in this scene. So let's go back to the scene.
Caleb, I'm supposed to give those divorce papers to my lawyer next week. I just, I need some time to think.
You can have all the time you need.
Okay, so, I remember watching this back in 2008, and I'm wondering if a lot of people, a lot of the audience watching this had the same response that I had, and that is, this is the point where it's all going to turn around. I mean, we're approaching the end of the movie here, and so isn't this where it's supposed to all turn around? This magnificent, very well done, heartfelt apology scene, and it clearly wasn't. I mean, her response, and you can see just the look on her face right there, that she is not really understanding how to make sense of what just happened, and so in that vulnerable state that she is in, she pulls herself out of that vulnerability and mentions the divorce papers, and I think for the audience members watching this, we're all like, oh man, I can't believe that. Like, this was it. This is where it was supposed to happen. This is the turnaround. What are they doing? And so, but this, is not the thing that did it. I think it was, I don't want to ruin the movie for you, so I'll, I'll let you go watch, if you haven't seen it, to go watch it in its entirety to kind of see what happens at the end. But this was, I think, a very important piece to the reconciliation effort, but it wasn't the apology and the emotions and the hurt and the pain, and I don't want to live my life without you, and it wasn't the thing that made her go, I want to stay in this marriage. I want to try. I want to give it another shot. But it is still what needs to happen, and sometimes, this movie's, 15 years old now, so I ain't gonna worry too much about spoilers, but in this particular storyline, there was another type of event that happened and they decided to work it out, But one thing that she says at the end of this movie is something to the effect of, and I'm going off memory here because I have not looked this part up in years, but just going off of memory, she said something to the effect of that, whatever you got, I want to be a part of that. So now I think, again, from the agenda of the movie, that's it kind of has that Christian agenda that she's talking about his faith, but I still think that is really what you're going for, and the type of change that you're wanting to make in your relationship as from a secular point of view too, is that for your partner to look at you with such curiosity and say, like, if this is real, whatever this is, like, I want to be a part of that. But there's no guarantee that they're going to say that. Sometimes it's that change that ends up kind of putting the final nail in the coffin, because it's such a contrast, and there's also like major insult to injury. Like, one thing that's really not addressed in this movie is kind of the how dare you moment. Like, that is very common in when with betrayed partners, when they're watching their partner do recovery, the one that hurt them, the one that betrayed them, and they're watching them do recovery, and they start getting better, which is what they want. But as they start watching them get better, it feels like insult to injury, because it's like, how dare you get better and I'm still hurting from this gaping wound that you created from your behavior. And of course, like I said, that's not really reflected here, but they can't put everything in on this. And so, that's pretty much the breakdown of Fireproof. And I've actually have showed that clip in session with clients before, and because I think it just really reflects what a quality apology looks like, and it gives me the opportunity to go over her response to that apology, and help people, see that, look, if you're doing this hoping to expecting to get a favorable response, then you probably need to rethink even doing it at all, because you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Now, it's okay to hope that you might get that, but it's like, despite what, that if this apology feels like insult to injury to my partner, to the point where she says something like in this movie, like, I need you to sign those divorce papers, then so be it. Like, it needs to be said. It needs to be done. This is about self-respect. It's about the love of self, and which usually is, what's missing in a lot of relationships where there is that level of betrayal. Is one thing I say a lot to people, is that to couples, is that, I don't say this in the beginning, but a lot of times, is that the problem usually isn't that this person didn't love me enough to stay faithful. The problem usually is they didn't love themselves enough to stay faithful. And of course, it doesn't feel like that to the betrayed partner, especially in the beginning. But that's something I really believe is true, is that, you can't love somebody enough to love yourself, and so they got to shift that focus back to, I got to figure out what it means to love myself. And this apology to her was as much about him as it was about her, and he needed to do this whether or not they stayed together or separated. So thank you for sitting through that. If you're watching this and watch it in its entirety, again, I'm still trying to figure out how to work the switcher board and the different screens and things that you guys can't see on this episode. So I apologize for some of the choppiness, not being able to think of the words conscious or subconscious. Like, it's because my brain's trying to multitask and it doesn't like it. It's pushing back hard. But I plan on doing more of these. I'm going to stick with it, see if I can teach myself to do it and get through the newness of it, and see if I can start creating some neural pathways that will help me be able to do this more effectively without saying a lot. But here's just a little reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Support us. Tell me your thoughts on this episode, or if there's a scene that that was really powerful to you that you liked, please put it in the description of this video. I mean, put it in the comments, and I'll take a look and see if it's something I think I could break down on here. But I plan on doing more of these breakdowns in the future. And make sure you check out the description of the video so that you can see the different links, and go back and watch this video, and watch and kind of think about those things that I mentioned in the breakdown. So anyways, thanks for being here. And